Good morning, everyone, and I welcome all the students of Intermediate Class 11 to the first lecture on the first chapter, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. I am Vijaya Ekka ma'am from the Department of English, Nirmala College, Ranchi, and today I will be explaining the first chapter of the Snapshots textbook, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. To give you a short introduction of the chapter, a rough idea about what we will be reading in this short story. This story is written by William Saroyan, and the story is about two young Armenian boys who belong to the Garoglanian tribe. They belong to a family where honesty and integrity were deeply valued. They were very poor, but they never did anything wrong. They never took advantage of anyone. They never lied or stole anything. And this is a story which is narrated by Aram, one of the two Armenian boys, who is also the protagonist of the story. And he narrates the adventure he and Murad had during one summer. इस कहानी के लेखक विलियम सारोयान हैं। ये कहानी दो आर्मेनियन बॉयज़ जो गारोक्लेनियन ट्राइब से बिलोंग करते हैं उनके बारे में है। उनकी फैमिली में काफ़ी ईमानदारी को वैल्यू दिया जाता था। वे कभी चोरी नहीं करते थे, ना कभी किसी से झूठ बोलते थे। वे काफ़ी गरीब थे और ना कभी किसी का बुरा चाहते थे। ये इस कहानी के रचयिता या इस कहानी के जो नरेटर हैं उनका नाम आराम है, जो कि दो आर्मेनियन बॉयज़ जो कज़न्स थे उनमें से एक आराम, वे इस कहानी को नरेट करते हैं। आराम इस कहानी का विशेष कैरेक्टर भी है, प्रोटैगनिस्ट या विशेष या मेन कैरेक्टर भी है। और इस कहानी के ज़रिए वे अपना और मुराद, जो कि उनके भाई थे, उन दोनों का जो एडवेंचर था वो इस कहानी में डिक्ट या नरेट करते हैं। The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse by William Saroyan. This story is about two Armenian boys who belong to a tribe whose hallmarks are truth and honesty. One day back there in a good old days, when I was 9 and the world was full of every imaginable kind of magnificence, and life was still a delightful and mysterious dream, my cousin Murad, who was considered crazy by everybody who knew him, except me, came to my house at 4 in the morning and woke me up, tapping on the window of my room. Aram, he said. I jumped out of bed and looked out of the window. I could not believe what I saw. It wasn't morning yet, but it was summer, and with daybreak not many minutes around the corner of the world, it was light enough for me to know I wasn't dreaming. My cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. I stuck my head out of the window and rubbed my eyes. Yes, he said in Armenian, it is a horse. You're not dreaming. Make it quick if you want to ride. In this first few paragraphs, we get to know that Aram is the narrator of the story. And we are reading the story from the point of view of Aram, and he is a 9-year-old young boy. Aram mentions that his cousin Murad was considered to be crazy by everyone except by him. Aram also mentions that his cousin Murad came to his house at 4 a.m. in the morning on a white horse. Aram could not believe his eyes as he thought that he was still dreaming. So this story, which is narrated by Aram, it shows that Aram and Murad, they were very poor, and it was quite difficult and impossible for Aram to believe that Murad was standing out of his house on a horse. आराम, जो कि इस कहानी का नरेटर है, वो कह रहा है कि क्योंकि इस कहानी का नरेटर आराम है, हम ये कहानी आराम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पढ़ेंगे। आराम एक 9 साल का लड़का है। आराम कहता है इस कहानी में कि मुराद, जो उसका कज़िन है, वो उसे सब क्रेज़ी माना करते थे। क्रेज़ी मतलब पागल। लोग मुराद को क्रेज़ी समझते थे, बट आराम कभी अपने कज़िन को क्रेज़ी नहीं समझता था। आराम इस कहानी में बतलाता है कि एक दिन सुबह के 4 बजे मुराद उसके घर के बाहर एक सफ़ेद घोड़े के साथ नीचे खड़ा था, और मुराद आराम को बुलाता है और कहता है कि अगर उसे हॉर्स राइड करना है तो वो जल्द से जल्द तैयार होकर नीचे आ जाए। बट आराम अपनी आँखों पर विश्वास नहीं कर पाता है। वो सोचता है कि शायद वो अभी भी सो रहा है और वो स्वप्न देख रहा है, इसीलिए वो तुरंत रिएक्ट नहीं करता है। और मुराद के दोबारा कहने पर वो जल्द से जल्द तैयार होकर नीचे चला जाता है हॉर्स राइड करने के लिए। I knew my cousin Murad enjoyed being alive more than anybody else who had ever fallen into the world by mistake. But this was more than even I could believe. In the first place, my earliest memories had been memories of horses, and my first longings had been longings to ride. This was the wonderful part. In the second place, we were poor. This was the part that would not permit me to believe what I saw. We were poor. We had no money. Our whole tribe was poverty stricken. Every branch of the Garoglianian family was living the most amazing and comical poverty in the world. Nobody could understand where we ever got money enough to keep us with food in our bellies. Not even the old men of the family. Most important of all, though, we were famous for our honesty. We had been famous for our honesty for something like 11 centuries, even when we had been the wealthiest family in what we liked to think was the world. We were proud first, honest next, and after that we believed in right and wrong. None of us would take advantage of anybody in the world, let alone steal. In these 3 paragraphs, we get to know that Aram could not believe that a white horse was standing outside his house. He knew that his cousin Murad was quite adventurous, but he had doubts, believing that Murad could actually buy a horse and afford a horse. So Aram gives 2 reasons why he refuses to believe that Murad had bought a horse and he was standing outside his house. Firstly, he says that it was their childhood dream. It was Murad's and Aram's childhood dream to ride a horse. And dreams rarely come true. Aram knew that dreams never became reality. And so this was the first reason why Aram refuses to believe that Murad was standing outside his house with a horse. Secondly, he says that they were very poor. Their family had no money to even buy proper food, and their family were honest people. They never took advantage of anyone and they never stole. So these were the two reasons why Aram says that he refused, or Aram says that he could not believe that Murad was standing outside his house with a horse. One, because dreams rarely came true, and the second reason was because they were very poor and they never stole anything and they were very honest people. Consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, even though I could smell it so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing, so exciting, I could not believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad or with me or with any of the other members of our family, asleep or awake, because I knew my cousin Murad could not have bought the horse, and if he could not have bought it, he must have stolen it, and I refused to believe he had stolen it. So Aram says that even though he could see, smell, and hear the horse, it was very exciting, it was very magnificent for Aram that he could see a living, breathing horse in front of him, but he could not bring himself to believe that that the horse had anything to do with him or with his cousin or with any other member of his family, because he says that Murad was very poor and he did not have money to buy a horse or even to afford a horse. So, if Murad did not buy the horse, then he must have stolen it. But Aram says that he refused to believe that Murad stole the horse because he says that their family were very honest. Their family did not steal. So he refuses to believe that refuses to believe that Murad stole the horse. No member of the Garoglanian family could be a thief. I stared first at my cousin and then at the horse. There was a pious stillness and humor in each of them, which on the one hand delighted me, and on the other hand frightened me. Murad, I said, where did you steal the horse? Leap out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. It was true then. He had stolen the horse. There was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not as I chose. So Aram assumed that Murad must have stolen the horse, and he refuses to believe that he stole it, because we know that their family never stole. We know that their family was honest. So when he asks Murad, where did you steal the horse? And Murad does not give him a straight reply or straight answer, Aram finally suspects that Murad must have stolen the horse. And if and Murad did not want to wait for Aram to decide or to make up his mind whether he wanted to ride or not, and keep him and leave him to debate whether he stole the horse or whether he bought the horse. आराम को विश्वास नहीं हो रहा था कि मुराद उसके घर के नीचे एक घोड़े के साथ खड़ा हुआ है। आराम जानता था कि मुराद एक काफ़ी एडवेंचरस कज़न था, जिसे एडवेंचर करना काफ़ी एक्साइटिंग लगता था। और आराम कहता है कि वो दो कारण से बिलीव नहीं कर पा रहा था कि मुराद उसके घर के नीचे एक सफ़ेद घोड़े के साथ खड़ा हुआ है। सबसे पहला कारण ये था कि आराम को पता था कि सपने कभी पूरे नहीं होते, सपने कभी सच्चाई में नहीं बदलते। मुराद और आराम का एक बचपन का सपना था कि वे कभी एक सफ़ेद घोड़ी पे राइड कर पाए, और ये सपना उसे लगता था, आराम को लगता था कि वो सपना ही रह जाएगा, और इस कारण से वो बिलीव नहीं करना चाहता था, विश्वास नहीं करना चाहता था कि मुराद उसके घर के नीचे एक सफ़ेद घोड़े के साथ खड़ा हुआ है। दूसरा कारण ये था कि आराम बतलाता है कि उनके फैमिली या उनका फैमिली काफ़ी गरीब था। उसके फैमिली में मुश्किल से खाने के लिए पैसे हुआ करता था, और उसका फैमिली काफ़ी ऑनेस्ट था, काफ़ी ईमानदार था। वो उनके फैमिली कभी किसी का एडवांटेज, गलत एडवांटेज नहीं लेते थे, और कभी चोरी नहीं करते थे, कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते थे। तो इन सब कारणों से, या ये इन दो कारण से आराम को यह विश्वास नहीं हो पा रहा था कि मुराद के पास ये घोड़ा कहाँ से आया। तो आराम जब घोड़े को साक्षात देखता है, वो देखता है कि ये घोड़ा सही असली है, रियल है। वो घोड़े को देख सकता था, स्मेल कर सकता था, उसे सुन सकता था, लेकिन फिर भी उसे विश्वास नहीं हो पा रहा था। वो कह रहा था कि उसे घोड़े को उनके फैमिली के साथ कोई रिश्ता नहीं है, कोई नाता नहीं है। और वो एक ही क्वेश्चन उसके दिमाग में चल रहा था कि मुराद के पास इतने पैसे कहाँ से आए ये घोड़ा खरीदने के लिए। तो जब आराम मुराद से ये पूछता है कि तुमने ये घोड़ा कहाँ से चुराया, और मुराद सीधा जवाब ना देकर उसे कहता है कि अगर तुम्हें घोड़े की सवारी करनी है तो तुम जल्द से जल्द अपने घर से नीचे आ जाओ। तब आराम को विश्वास हो जाता है कि मुराद ने ये घोड़ा चोरी किया है। लेकिन आराम फिर भी ये विश्वास नहीं करना चाहता कि मुराद चोरी कर सकता है, क्योंकि वो जानता था कि उसका फैमिली कभी भी चोरी नहीं करता है। इसी वजह से वो मुराद के ऊपर शक कर रहा था कि उसके पास इतने पैसे कहाँ से आए, और वो क्वेश्चन भी करता है मुराद से कि उसने घोड़ा कहाँ से चोरी किया।
Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. If you were crazy about horses, the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. Let me put on some clothes, I said. All right, he said, but hurry. I leaped into my clothes. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. That year we lived at the edge of town on Walnut Avenue. Behind our houses was the country. Vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches, and country roads. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Olive Avenue, and then the horse began to trot. The air was new and lovely to breathe. The feel of the horse running was wonderful. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. I mean, he began to roar. In these few paragraphs, Aram says that he was more excited to ride the horse than to debate whether Murad had stolen the horse or not. Aram says that he does not consider stealing the horse as similar to stealing money. In fact, he says that he does not even consider stealing a horse as stealing at all, which of course he says until he offered to sell the horse in exchange for money, then it would be stealing, according to Aram. So Aram quickly put on clothes and went out to ride the horse. It was still dark and the sun was not up yet, and slowly they rode the horse to an open area as Murad started to sing. आराम इस बात से ज़्यादा एक्साइटेड था कि उसे घोड़े पर सवार करने का मौका मिल रहा था। वो सोचना नहीं चाहता था या डिबेट नहीं करना चाहता था कि मुराद ने घोड़े को चोरी किया है या नहीं। आराम का मानना है कि अगर जब तक वे घोड़े को पैसे के लिए ना बेचे तब तक उसे चोरी नहीं कहते हैं। आराम घोड़े की चोरी और पैसे की चोरी से सिमिलर से के इक्वल नहीं समझता था। उसका मानना था कि अगर वह घोड़े को राइड करने के लिए चोरी कर रहा है तो वो चोरी नहीं है। अगर वो घोड़े को पैसे के लिए एक्सचेंज कर देता है तभी वो चोरी कहलाता है। सो आराम जल्द से जल्द अपने कपड़े पहनकर नीचे चला जाता है और वो दोनों और मुराद दोनों घोड़े पर सवार होकर एक खुले जगह पर चले जाते हैं। और उस समय सूरज नहीं निकला था, काफ़ी अंधेरा था और धीरे धीरे दोनों घोड़े पर सवार होकर चलते जाते हैं और मुराद गाना गाने लगता है। Every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere, and my cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak of our tribe. Before him was our uncle Khosrow, an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair and the largest mustache in the San Joaquin Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking or roaring. It is no harm, pay no attention to it. As we were told in the beginning that everyone considered Murad to be crazy, Aram says that Murad gets his craziness, or Murad was a natural descendant of craziness that was passed down to him from his ancestors. And Aram says that before Murad, their uncle Khosrow was considered to be crazy. His uncle Khosrow was a very large man and he was very furious, very short-tempered, very irritable and impatient man, and he would stop anyone from talking only by saying, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." जैसा कि हमें पता है, जब हमने इस स्टोरी को स्टार्ट किया था तब आराम मेंशन करता है कि सब मुराद को क्रेज़ी समझते थे। और मुराद के बारे में यहाँ पर आराम बतलाता है कि मुराद एक नेचुरल डिसेंडेंट था, जो कि उसके एंसेस्टर्स या जो कि उनके पूर्वज के द्वारा क्रेज़ीनेस मुराद पर पास डाउन कर दिया गया था। मुराद के पहले उनके अंकल खोसरोव को क्रेज़ी माना जाता था। अंकल खोसरोव एक बहुत ही बड़े विशाल आदमी थे और वे काफ़ी शॉर्ट टेम्पर्ड, काफ़ी जल्दी गुस्सा हो जाने वाले, काफ़ी इम्पेशेंट वाले इंसान थे और वे किसी को भी चिल्लाकर उनका मुंह या उनका बोलना बंद कर देते थे हमेशा वो एक ही डायलॉग कहते थे सब लोगों को। जब भी वो चाहते थे कि लोग चुप हो जाए या चुप रह जाए, वो हमेशा एक ही सेंटेंस बोलते थे, वो था इट इज़ नो हार्म, पे नो अटेंशन टू इट। ये वाक्य बोलकर लोगों को चुप करा देते थे, किसी को बात नहीं करने देते थे। दैट वॉज ऑल, no matter what anybody happened to be talking about. Once it was his own son Arak running 8 blocks to the barber's shop where his father was having his mustache trimmed to tell him their house was on fire. This man, Khosrow, sat up in the chair and wrote, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." The barber said, "But the boy says your house is on fire." So Khosrow wrote, "Enough, it is no harm, I say." So Aram narrates an incident he remembers of Uncle Khosrow. He says that once his son, Uncle Khosrow was getting his mustache trimmed at a barber's shop, and his son comes in to tell him that their house was on fire. But Uncle Khosrow, he does not react in a panicky way. He only sits up in his chair and he tells his son to pay no attention to it. And when the barber tells Uncle Khosrow that your son is saying that your house is burning, that your house is on fire, Uncle Khosrow tells the barber, "It is no harm, I say." So he tells these lines to make everybody quiet. He does not want anybody to disturb him. So जैसा आराम कहता है कि अंकल कोशरोव को क्रेज़ी माना जाता है और अंकल कोशरोव किसी को भी बात करने से रोक देते थे बस एक सेंटेंस बोलकर, वो था इट इज़ नो हार्म, पे नो अटेंशन टू इट। आराम एक इंसिडेंट नरेट करता है, हमें बतलाता है कि एक दिन अंकल कोशरोव बार्बर की दुकान पर अपना मुस्टैश या अपना मूछ ट्रिम करवा रहे थे। तब उनका बेटा आता है और उनसे कहता है कि उनका घर में आग लग गया है। बट अंकल कोशरोव अपने बेटे से कहते हैं कि पे नो अटेंशन टू इट। और वही बात जब बार्बर दोबारा अंकल कोशरोव से कहता है कि आपका बेटा कह रहा है कि आपका घर जल रहा है, घर पे आग लग गया है, तब अंकल कोशरोव उसे भी चुप करा देते हैं ये कहते हुए, इट इज़ नो हार्म। My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man. Although Murad's father was Zorab, who was practical and nothing else. That's how it was in our tribe. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that did not mean that he was also the father of his spirit. The distribution of the various kinds of spirit in our tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. So Aram says that Murad gets his craziness from Uncle Khosrow. अंकल कोशरोव से मुराद को अपना क्रेजीनेस पास ऑन किया गया है। और आराम कहता है, एंड आराम सेज दैट इवन दो हिज फादर वाज अ प्रैक्टिकल मैन, मुराद का फादर जो था उनका नाम ज़ोराब था और मुराद के फादर एक प्रैक्टिकल मैन थे, एक रैशनल मैन थे। ही वॉज अ रैशनल मैन, ही वॉज अ प्रैक्टिकल मैन. But Aram says that even though Murad's father was a practical man, that did not mean that his son would also be a practical man. His son Murad might look like his father. He might be identical to his father in flesh or in body, but that did not mean that even his spirit or his mind might be like his father. ज़रूरी नहीं है कि अगर किसी का बाप एक रैशनल और एक प्रैक्टिकल इंसान है तो उसका बेटा भी एक रैशनल और प्रैक्टिकल इंसान बनेगा। भले ही बेटा अपने बाप की तरह दिखे, लेकिन ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उसका दिमाग और उसका नेचर बाग के जैसा रहे।
Thank you, dear students. That is all for today. I will soon upload the rest of the explanation of the chapter very soon in the coming days. Till then, I would request all of you to read the three pages which I have explained in this lecture, and if you have any doubts, any questions, you may post your questions in the WhatsApp group and I will explain it to you over there. You may give your attendance, write your name, class and roll number in the comment section which is below this video. Thank you.